All right, it looks like we are on. We're here with Tom Novak, which can only mean we're here to talk about weather and at this time of year, winter weather and the potential for something. Tom, you and I were just talking before we got on the air about how it's been kind of a slow year to get things started. Why don't you talk more about that?
Yeah, well, it's been a slow, 3, 4 years now here over most of Minnesota and Wisconsin. I think what people need to understand is this,
Same,
Bill.
same with Adrian Peterson. It's been a slow couple years. He's thinking about retiring, but that's not the situation here.
Right, right. Hey, but the Vikings, by the way, I'm predicting a Vikings Super Bowl. Don't hold me to it, but that's just my call. It feels good. And here's going to be the deal, Bill. Vikings Steelers is what my prediction is. And when people come to Minnesota in early February, it's going to be about 10 below, and they're going to get a real good taste of Minnesota winter. And hopefully by then, Bill, we'll actually have some snow on the ground here to talk about. So
is the European model the one that's advising that the Vikings can make the Super Bowl, or is it the GFS? Or
it's the Novak computer model.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying it's got to happen sometime, right?
Right.
And everything goes back to 1998, by the way. I just was talking to some friends about this last night. We're all trigger shy to even talk about Super Bowl because of 1998. That was Gary Anderson, wide right, I believe.
Yeah.
So it all comes back to that. But dang it, Bill, one of my jobs is to predict stuff, and I'm predicting a Vikings Super Bowl. I didn't say they're going to win, though.
Okay.
By the way, I mentioned that we hopefully will have snow on the ground by then. I'm pretty optimistic. In fact, I told a lot of my clients yesterday that I get a funny feeling that the second half here of December is going to feature snow and some cold, but especially some snow, because people don't realize this, but there has been a lot of snow. Not here in Minnesota and Wisconsin yet, but you don't have to go very far north of the border of the Minnesota border into southern Canada, and there's been a ton of snow up there. And it only makes sense that that area of snow is going to move south as it continues to get colder here and as winter starts. So I'm very optimistic about that. And when we look at the computer models, Bill, you're going to see why. What I'm going to show you guys now, seeing the GFS computer model. And this is the jet stream. And Bill, I'm going to quiz you now. How far up in the atmosphere is the jet stream?
It's where jets fly.
Right. What do you think that is? How many feet, Bill?
30,000 feet?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Not bad. Yeah, this is like at about 30,000 feet high in our atmosphere. And this is...
What's 5,000 feet between friends?
5,000 feet? You mean how high is that in millibars?
No, I'm just saying whether it's 25,000 or 30,000 feet. But
oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, 5,000 feet does not matter much. But there's a big difference, of course, between 5,000 feet in our atmosphere and then 30,000 feet. 5,000 feet, by the way, Bill, that's the lower layers of our atmosphere, and that's 850 millibars. And we may even take a quick look at that map, too. But, of course, the jet stream, Bill, is something that's extremely important to meteorologists, to weather enthusiasts, because these are the steering winds in our atmosphere. And this is what you're looking at is Monday. And here you can see a jet stream coming off the west coast. We still have this west to northwest orientation to the jet stream, Bill. One of the reasons why it's been so dry for the last several weeks is because we've had this north to northwest flow in our atmosphere at the jet stream level, and that just brings colder, drier air out of Canada south. So we want that jet stream to start to orientate from the west and southwest, almost from Albuquerque, Bill, up towards Minnesota. And you can see that happening now here, and this is very important, Bill. This is Wednesday evening. You can see that the jet stream is now oriented from southwest to northeast across the central and northern plains and into the upper Midwest. This is the sign that we're going to be getting moisture to come north into southern Minnesota, and it also is a sign that we have what we call a buckle in the jet stream, or a trough over the western United States. That's pretty much indicative of a storm system that's going to develop over the central plains on Wednesday night. Now, it looks great, it looks positive for snow as we head into late Wednesday and Thursday, but of course there are always negatives, Bill. And we're going to need to focus on some of those negatives. So the positive is the jet stream orientation, but what I want to show you, and this is important, Bill, this is the 500...
Tom, everything you talk about is important.
Well, not everything. Sometimes we don't talk about much as a lot of people will tell you on this little thing of ours. But this one is important. This is 500 millibars. This shows energy in our atmosphere at about 15 to 20,000 feet up in our atmosphere. Here's Monday. You can see a little bit of a disturbance coming through the northern plains. But we're going to be really focusing on this system here coming at us on Wednesday out in the West Coast. Look how impressive this twist in our atmosphere is on Wednesday afternoon. So no doubt there's going to be snow in the Rocky Mountains, and this is what's going to really catch our attention. But watch what happens, Bill, and this is the red flag that I'm seeing already. Look at what happens to that energy. It doesn't necessarily come straight east across into the northern plains and upper Midwest. A piece of it does, okay? But the majority of that energy, if you believe the GFS computer model, sinks southwest into the desert southwest and New Mexico, okay? So Albuquerque, you're probably going to get some action down there, Bill, as we head into later next week. But that is the first red flag with this storm system. That's why some people are not even going to be speaking much in reference to snow as we get into early in the middle portions of next week.
If I put a big sign out on my balcony since I'm in New Mexico trying to redirect the storm, might that help?
It won't. By the way, Bill, this southwestern cutoff low, you guys have been dealing with that in New Mexico, and you can probably tell us what you've been getting over the last couple of weeks. But these little cutoff systems, that's been happening quite a bit. And no, you can't, Bill, you can't just send it northeast to us. But who says that the GFS computer model is right? I mean, who knows? This is going to change. We're still 5-6 days out, Bill, so we shouldn't pay too much attention to this, but it is a red flag, okay? And now we're looking at the ECMWF. This is the European computer model. This is one of the models that we really like for medium range forecasting. Now, this is for Sunday night. You can see this is at 500 millibars again, and these blue areas are energy in our atmosphere. These are lowering heights in our atmosphere, but you can see, again, this cutoff low in the desert southwest. And as we go through time on Monday, and then here's that new system that comes at us late Tuesday and Wednesday. Now watch what the European model does to it, Bill. It drops it into the Rocky Mountains, and then it also tries to cut it off in the desert southwest. So these are definitely some red flags, Bill.
When you go back to that, Tom, it looks like it was splitting it off, like it split part into the southwest and then part.
Well, that's exactly what it does. And that the European computer model does that also, Bill, remember. So let's go back to it. Now, this is a much wider range that we're looking at, right? This is the northern half of the world, basically, or at least North America, okay? So you're getting a wider look at this, and again, a very impressive storm system on the West Coast. This would be Tuesday. But yes, it comes at us, looks really good on Wednesday, and then it starts to shear off or split off on Thursday and Friday. So what that is telling us, Bill, is that there's going to be a storm probably Wednesday and Thursday. It may not be as strong as what we're hoping for, at least for a big snowmaker, right? But it's going to come at us in a chunk, in a piece. And that should produce snow. And the European model actually shows that, Bill. This is snow, at least as of Wednesday morning, okay, of next week. You can see here's snow that has developed over North Dakota and northwest Minnesota, at least some snow up to that point. Now watch what happens as we go through time. You can see that snow develops over northern Minnesota, a significant amount of it, as we head into Thursday morning, okay? Still nothing here in southern Minnesota. That's a little scary, but as we go through time, boom. This is Thursday night into Friday morning. The European model is dropping over 6 inches of snow over portions of southeastern Minnesota, and then a bonanza of snow over northern Wisconsin. I mean, look at this. By late next week, the European model is producing over a foot of snow over a good chunk of northern Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan. So, yeah, this isn't the big blockbuster storm, at least not right now. Computer models aren't showing that. But at least the European model is optimistic about a significant snow. We're talking somewhere in that 4 to 8 inch range snow over southern and eastern Minnesota, and then even more. as you head into northwest Wisconsin. But yeah, I mean, I can't help it but look at some of these red flags, because sometimes that's the best way to look at it, Bill, is, what doesn't look good?
Yeah.
Because too often, I think,
Tom, that's the way I view the world. I'm always, it's always the water.
Hey, we got to be glass half empty, right?
Exactly.
If you want to be a forecaster, you really have to be glass half empty. And I'm a person that, I used to be glass half full when I predict the weather, and that would get me into trouble. So being pessimistic sometimes is a good way to look at this. And oh, by the way, let's just look at one more computer model, Bill. This is the 850 millibar. This is the lowest layers of our atmosphere. And let's go into the middle portions of next week. This is Tuesday. There's a lot of cold air, plenty of cold air over Minnesota. But here's another red flag, Bill. Look at the warmer air right here over South Dakota on Wednesday. That's starting to surge north and east into southern Minnesota. So if you were to believe the GFS computer model, Bill, we would totally get missed by a snowstorm on Wednesday and Thursday, because it would be just too warm in our atmosphere to support snow. And then, of course, once the storm moves by Thursday and Friday, then the cold air comes in. This is a scenario that we've been dealing with for the last 3-4 years here in the upper Midwest, especially in Minneapolis and St. Paul, is just too much warm air gets drawn up into a storm system, and we basically get blanked on snow. So, I don't want everybody to get all pessimistic. People have already heard about the potential for a snowstorm middle and later portions of next week. I'm still optimistic about it, but there's no doubt these last 3-4 years is weighing on me right now. And I can't help but to say, hey, we got to throw caution to the wind here and not promote this too much right now. But we certainly need to monitor the storm system, because there is potential.
Yeah, Tom, and I think it's good for us to actually look. We tend to look at stuff when a storm is more likely, I guess. So it's kind of interesting, I think, for us to actually look at it when things are not there. Because
no doubt. And people, they're on the edge right now. People that love snow are on the edge, because it's been such a poor 3-4 years here in the upper Midwest as far as snow concerns. So anytime you even start mentioning the potential for a winter storm, you get a lot of action. It's and I put a post out last night about the potential for a winter storm next week, and I don't know, I must have received 20-25 comments on it. So you can tell that people are on edge. People want to get out there. They want to snowmobile. They want to ski. They just want to do winter activities, and they want snow for Christmas, right? And what I'm trying to say is, I'm optimistic, even though I'm glass half full nowadays with my forecasting, but I'm optimistic about this one. I think we're going to get some snow, but it just remains to be seen how much and how far.
Tom, with your Super Bowl prediction, I think you might be glass 90% full.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, what I wouldn't give for a Vikings Super Bowl and a victory in.
Wow, that would be wild. That would be wild. So.
It would be. So anyway, let's maybe touch bases early next week as this storm system starts to evolve, and we can give people an update.
All right. Thank you, Tom.
All right, Bill.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.